Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is finally Friday, October 3rd, and welcome back to another episode of Style by Stevie. My very special guest today is an actor and creator, and I'm super excited to have him here with me. Finally, Friday, TGIF. I had to restart the live, and hopefully it will work this time because I could not see him. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to him so that we can get him in here. And hopefully it should work this time. Give me one sec. Yo, give me one sec. Boom. All right. So while we're waiting on our very special guest, make sure you guys go and check out my interview yesterday with Bronzelle Knight. That was a good conversation, and in celebration of all things fashion, Paris Fashion Week is kicked off. So Mugler had their show yesterday, and not only Mugler, but Schiaparelli had their show also. And Pamela Anderson debuted a new look. I love the shag on her because for so long she had big, voluminous hair on Baywatch. So enough of that. We'll catch up on Paris Fashion Week recap later. But without further ado, let me welcome my very special guest here in the dollhouse, Anthony G. Marshall. And hopefully it should work.
All right. Hey.
Really, welcome to the dollhouse.
Thank you, Miss Stevie. I'm glad to be here.
Such a pleasure to have you here. So before we kick off this interview, how has 2025 been for you so far?
Has been great. Honestly, can't be any more blessed. It's been fantastic for me.
Yes, 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 yes. So let's start from the beginning of your story. Tell us, who is Anthony G. Marshall? I know who he is, but for those who are not familiar, let them know about your
Ab-
story, where you grew up, everything.
Sure, of course. I'll bear it all. I'm Anthony G. Marshall, named after the my father, Anthony Marshall, Tony Marshall. I'm an actor and a creator. Been pretty much all my life. Only been acting professionally probably since 2020, when I was in a show called Paradise Lost. It ended up being a Paramount. Was it Paramount or God, Spectrum original, and had Nick Nolte in it. Had a couple of stars in there. I was actually played. If anybody's a TV fan, I actually played the younger version of John Marshall Jones, who you may know as the father on Smart Guy. So yeah, I played the younger version of
Wait,
him. Apparently, yeah.
oh my God. And what's so crazy is in the past, I want to say 2021 to 2022, I interviewed Omar Gooden, who was also on
Also
Smart
on
Guy.
Smart Guy. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, absolutely. Like yeah. Apparently, I looked enough like him to get the role, so that kind of started out my acting career. I'm still kind of, I'm still trying to get my way through. Like I said, I've been acting all my life. Wanted to be an actor probably since I was 9. I actually went to school for acting. Went to A&T. Shout out to all my Aggies, Aggie Pride. But I actually kind of dropped out of acting for a while after I graduated. My grandma passed away while I was on stage, so kind of gave me some a little bit of PTSD. But
Ooh,
despite the fact I'm estranged from my ex-wife, she actually wanted me to kind of get back into acting, and just to shut her up, I said I would do it. I would take some acting classes, and get into acting classes got me an agent, and I mean I felt like I was back home. So that was pretty much me, even in the good times and in the bad times. I'm always acting, and if I'm not acting, I'm creating.
and look at you now. You said Paradise Lost. Danielle Deadweiler was also on the show. You said Nick Nolte and Danielle Deadweiler. We'll get to that. But
Yes, of course.
growing up, how many siblings, how many brothers and sisters growing up?
Brothers, I actually have two brothers, two younger brothers. Brother Antoine is he's a lawyer, and my other brother Rasheem is a social worker. Love him to death. But yeah, those are my two ride or dies, and part of them damn Marshall boys. So
And not only that, but each of you have your own career path. And I had to ask because I have siblings as well too. I have four brothers and I have
Okay,
two
okay.
sisters. One of my sisters, unfortunately, she's no longer here with us.
My
So keeping
condolences.
her spirit here along. So I know what it's like to grow up out of a family of seven, out of seven siblings. Each and every one of us have
Absolutely.
our own personality. None of them chose the path that I wanted to go in, which is entertainment, hosting a platform, or fashion, anything like that. They chose their own paths. I know what it's like growing up with siblings. Who was the first person that you saw on television that said, okay, wow, they can do it. I can do it. Who was the first actor?
Wow. You know what? It would probably be man, that's a great question. If I had to say anybody, I would probably say it was Jason Weaver. I've seen Jason Weaver in a couple of shows, especially watching the Michael Jackson saga or the Jackson saga,
American
and
Dream? Yeah.
exactly. And I think when I found out that he was actually the voice of the singing voice of Simba in The Lion King, which is one of my favorite animated movies, that's when I was like, well, I mean, if a young brother like that is doing it, then yeah, I kind of need to, yeah, I kind of want to do this. So I kind of figured at that time, I like acting out. That was kind of the career path for me. I knew it was a little bit different. I knew, especially growing up, I kind of grew up in that age where you watch the Sesame Street and Barney and Friends, and they're telling you,
Yep.
you can be anything that you want to be. And unfortunately, I didn't know what I wanted to be. So I came with the idea of wanting to do it all. And once I realized that as an actor, I technically could, that's kind of where life took me.
And what your parents say, because I know our parents have their reservations about us getting in the business. They're just like, okay, you gonna do what now? You want to be a singer? You want to be an actor? What's gonna be your game plan? What do you really want to do? So,
Of
what did your parents
course.
say about you getting into
So
acting?
So mom always had my back on it. Mom knew I was a character, and I think that's why growing up I was really close to my mom. Um, but my dad, on the other hand, took a little bit more convincing. I mean, I came from a family where me and my cousins were kind of like brothers and sisters, but I'm coming from a family of architects and teachers and
Mm,
lawyers, teachers. I'm just of doctors. A bunch of stuff. And here I come, the artsy kid that wants to be an actor. So my dad was a little upset, especially when I declared professional theater to be my major in college. And it wasn't until he saw my very first show that he realized, what I could do. I was in shows in high school, but it seemed like a hobby. But once he kind of saw that, he kind of realized, okay, I think he has the skill to actually get this done.
right. And when you said that, that makes me think about Cheryl Lee Ralph in Sister Act 2. And we know how passionate she was about Lauren Hill going to school, keeping her nose in the books. That's all of our parents. So what Lauren was
Absolutely.
feeling while she was in character was us because our parents said, you're
Exactly.
gonna do what? You gonna go to school, put yourself through school, you're gonna do this. But once they see us in craft mode and they realize that we're really passionate about it and we love what we do, they jump
Exactly.
on and they're just like, we're so proud of you. So a shift
Absolutely.
happened.
Absolutely.
A-
And I met Cheryl Lee Ralph too. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful woman. Met her at A&T, and she is awesome. I mean, she is definitely a dynamo.
Has she given you any advice? Because she just recently, she yesterday she did the View, and she got her star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And
Yes, she did.
Abbott
Which
Elementary
well
is
deserved.
returning. Those of you out there, but was it any gems that she gave you along the way?
You know what? She didn't drop a whole lot of gems for me. I didn't get a chance to meet her for long. If anybody probably gave me anything where I kind of just focused in on what I was doing,
Mm,
it was probably it's probably Avery Brooks, if you're familiar. He plays the captain on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, I believe. He was also in
yeah,
American History X. Phenomenal actor. I mean, he was dropping some Mr. Miyagi gems on me. Basically, it was. I mean, if he said something to the extent of, "We got enough actors in the world. Show us what you're really about, and kind of put yourself out there," which I have kind of followed throughout my entire career.
And he's absolutely correct. And
Absolutely.
me and my guest that I had on yesterday, Bronzel, we were, of
Okay.
course, while I was introducing you, I said we were talking about Paris Fashion Week. And he was talking about the importance of networking and putting yourself out there and letting people
Absolutely.
know that this is your craft. Even for models, they have to go to casting calls. For actors,
Yes.
you're having to go to auditions. And it's
Auditions.
tons of people. Sometimes the line can be all the way wrapped around the curve, and it's a lot of people that could be going for the same exact role as you. And
Yes.
sometimes you get a no, but don't let that no discourage you or stop you. You go for
Exactly.
it. It's the hunger, it's the feeling, and it does
Exactly.
something knowing that, okay, I'm fighting for this. I got to prove to them that I can do it. And
Exactly.
sometimes that casting director or that producer or whoever's doing the casting will tell you no the first time and say, come back again. And then you're
Right.
driving down, minding your business, lolly you get an email or a phone call, and they say, come in and read for this part. We need you.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, I tell you what. Well, Miss Stevie, one of the craziest things that happened to me. I was talking about the show, that was on Paradise Lost. That was, like I said, my first professional acting gig, and I was going through probably one of the worst times of my life. Shout out to K Tukes 85.
My brother,
But oh, I got you. Okay, what's up, bro? But I'll tell you what, it was I was not in my right mind. I was working as a banker. I had just gotten robbed at my job at gunpoint. Failed my mental assessment. So I was out of work for about six. I was out of work for about 6 weeks. Before, while I kind of healed. Me and my ex-wife took a trip to Las Vegas, and I'd been auditioning, and I hadn't been auditioning long though. And we're in Vegas, we're just chilling, and we just touched down. I get a phone call, and my agent is on the phone. My agent never calls me, and straight up says, "Anthony, where you at? I just touched down in Vegas. Hey, I'm gonna need you to get to Baton Rouge tomorrow because that audition that you did, they didn't even want to do a callback. They just want you." And so I had to cut my vacation short and flew right to Baton Rouge. And I was only supposed to be in one episode, and it ended up turning into three.
see, syndication and heavy
Exactly.
rotation, you never know. And then some people start off as background extras, and then you
Exactly.
go and you might get reoccurring. You get
Of
reoccurring roles.
course.
So
Of
you never
course.
know where it could lead if you go
And
and
I've
try.
had, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I've had friends that I had a friend that was in one of the Spider-Man movies, one of the later ones, and she was just supposed to play background high school character, and they liked her look enough where they were like, "Hey, can you just say hi?" I can't remember the character's name, but just say hi to her. Technically, it's a line. It's a SAG production, so her pay went from what about $200 to something about 1,100 just for the day. So sometimes it just happens that crazy like that.
And you never know where it could take you to next. And you go
Exactly.
forth and
Exactly.
so forth. And I know a lot of
Exactly.
people are yearning for that reoccurring role. I've interviewed a lot of actors that have done Chicago PD, and they're
Okay.
saying,
Yeah.
I started off in background, but the producer and the director, the person who was directing the episode, said, come on up front. We want you to be next to lead. So you get
Oh
that
yeah.
reoccurring, getting
Oh yeah.
syndicated. So that's what you want. You got to start off somewhere. You start off in
Exactly.
background. And make
Exactly.
sure you stand out. That is one thing that is key. I remember I had
Exactly.
casting director Cindy Alisi here, and she's
Okay.
done a
Okay.
lot in the LA area. And one thing I can say for sure, she said, bring your personality because there's tons of people in that room that have theirs. You make sure that you stand out. And she said,
Exactly.
how do I stand out? The question that she got asked the most from people who were actors
Hmm.
was, she said, what can I do to stand out at this audition? Because there's tons of people that are going for the same role that I could be auditioning for.
Of
So
course. Of
she
course.
said, bring your personality, bring
Yes.
everything, make it so
Absolutely.
believable that they're just like, wow, do it again. Because that's what you
Exactly.
want. You want them to say, do it again.
Exactly. You want that. And I tell you, one of the craziest audition stories I think I've ever had was I was in a movie. It was a one liner, but I was in a movie called which one was that? That was Popular Theory. It was, I think it was a children's movie. Sadly enough, I've not watched it yet. It's, but the director, Ali Shear, actually, once again, no callbacks, no nothing. She basically said, "Hey, yeah, we're gonna need you." I'd not booked anything, and for some odd reason, I could book anything anywhere else. Especially when I was living in Atlanta at the time, I was going through my divorce, so I was, just about to head back to my native North Carolina. And like I said, I read this one line, but I kind of saw something in the script that literally said, um, kind of pod person. So I was thinking to myself, Stepford Wives. And I did the line, I was kind of hypnotized and everything like that. And when I got a chance to, they brought me on set and was like, we had to give you the role because you were the only person that literally read it exactly how we needed it, like to a point where nobody even tried it. They kind of delivered the line naturally, where instead of that hypnotized, I can't remember the line exactly, but it was just such a hypnotic line, and you're kind of looking crazy, wide-eyed, like you're just not there. And so sometimes just reading, it's not even reading the lines. Sometimes it's just reading what's going on before you enter, what's going on after you enter, what's in the middle, what the stuff that you can't really. I'm not gonna say the stuff that you can't really read, but mostly like the stuff that is there. You kind of have to formulate your mind to put it there, just from that. And I mean, even just some like small things like knowing your environment. Like I said, I know of a gentleman who had an audition and literally got the role from just, I guess he was auditioning. He was supposed to be an auditioner and literally got the role just from, kind of stopping what he was saying and just, cue the music so that they can do what they need to do. And they kicked everybody else out because they wanted him specifically because they knew what to do.
See, you never know where it could take you. And
Exactly.
it's so many people that are watching, and that's why it's important that you network and put yourself out there. Go to
Of
these
course.
auditions, search
Mhm.
around, and word of mouth is always the best. Now I'm gonna go back for a
Absolutely.
minute to the beginning because you've mentioned one year that we all have never forgotten, and that is uh 2020. It was a
Yes.
lot shut down, a lot was
Yes.
impacted. Virtual auditions, how we're currently doing this interview is a thing. You had to self audition yourself, self tape, and send it in.
Absolutely.
There was no going to the casting calls or audition
Exactly.
where,
Exactly.
it's a long line wrapped around the curve and you had to
Right.
wait till they called you in. No, you had to do it one by one by
Right then,
one.
right there.
So how did you
Exactly.
navigate? Even a lot of shows being in production, like there was guidelines on the set as well too. So how did
Oh,
you manage getting through 2020?
2020 was probably one of the roughest years of my life, and it's not even close. Once again, I was going through the divorce, so my mind was already out of there. I was almost to a point, and I don't want to get too dark for the too dark to the audience, but I was even on a verge. I mean, I feel like I have to give you the whole story. I was on the verge of suicide. To a point where, I was like, I was going to end it all. And I see my Aunt Janice there. Hi, Aunt Janice. Unfortunately, and I hate to even tell the story with her being here, but I feel like it's a story that needs to be told because
And it
it's
can
the only
help
reason
save
I'm still
someone's
here.
life. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's why I always have to tell this story. So my cousin, unfortunately, actually committed suicide during that
My
time,
God.
and we were extremely close. And so I mean, just that going on with everything I'm going through, I was lost completely, to a point that but when it happened, I think the one thing that I took from it was I can't let anybody else feel like that because I love my cousin Chauncey to death, and I miss him every day. But him leaving us, I saw the wake of destruction that he left in that decision, and I think that that's what kept me here because truthfully, I don't think I would, just being on the other side of that, I was like, I can't put anybody through that, to a point that I had to say something. So I will say it took a lot of, I kind of just stayed by myself. When an audition hit, I hit it I smacked it as hard as I could. And that's the only thing that kind of kept me going, because I felt like, there wasn't, I almost felt like there wasn't a place for me anymore. But once I kind of realized, okay, I just need to build myself up. I need to take this time. I need to grieve. I need to, I lost friends during COVID, from the disease itself. And it was tough. I mean, it was a tough situation. And I literally, that was the, I don't think I've ever gone through something that hard, but I literally rebuilt myself. Came with a fresh new mindset, came from, not taking anything for granted, but, I had to reinvent. Sometimes you have to evolve from a situation that is that difficult. And I know you know firsthand, like, you have to evolve in order to get through
Oh
some of
yeah,
those issues.
my God, my God. Hey Kimani, hey girl, hey my girl. How are you? TGIF. That's why you get emotional over there. Um,
No, of course,
I'm
of
gonna
course.
say this because this can, and your aunt says it's okay.
Yeah.
Uh, y'all send some hearts in the comments for Anthony, some blue hearts.
Oh, thank you,
This is
thank
not
you. I
going
appreciate that.
mental health within the Black community, the Black collective. 2020, it was scary for all of us. And me and my mother
Absolutely,
were talking about it during the pandemic. A lot of stores that we would go into, we could not gather and be around family, be around each other. We became so creative. And I
of
said
course.
this not too long ago in one of my conversations with one of my guests as well, too. And that is, we've become attached to connection through technology. How we are now
Absolutely,
living in a digitalized technology where you
of
have,
course.
ways and means that you can communicate with your friends and family. People have become so creative that they started doing dinners over Zoom. They started FaceTime
Yes.
their family members. I know my brother will FaceTime in, and he's right down the road from me. So
Oh wow.
he's in Charleston. And when you said North Carolina, my guest
Yeah.
yesterday, Bronzel, he's in Fayetteville. And I have
Okay.
a cousin, a brother, and a girlfriend there. And
Okay.
it's like we're all scattered out, but they can drive home over the weekends and they can bring my nephew to come see us because he has
Nice.
his other grandparents down here as well too. So it wasn't a thing. Yes, we
Yeah.
got together, we did what we did, but we made sure that we also kept our distance as well too. And
Right.
your aunt said it best. She said the Lord has the master plan.
Yes.
And he said
Yes.
he's not through with you yet. He's not through. You got a
Exactly.
lot more creativity to do. You have a lot
Cool.
more to put out there to the world. And it's
Of course.
important that we keep reminding and reassuring people because there are other people who battled that same thing. And you didn't get
Right. Of
dark. That's why I said, no, you're not getting dark because
course.
I talk about mental health a lot here on this platform
Yeah.
and how key and crucial and important it is that we talk about our feelings and understand that they're valid because there are other people who could be battling with the same exact thing
Absolutely.
as well, as if they don't have
Absolutely.
a purpose. We all have a purpose.
Purpose. And truth be told, I mean, I think the biggest thing I could tell anybody, anybody that's watching that's going through this, if you haven't heard it today, I might not know who you are. I love you. And sometimes you just need to take that. Like, I might not know who you are. I might not know what you're going through, but but I mean, we may have gone down a similar road. I love you, and keep fighting. You have to. You have to, because I'm telling you right now, making a decision like that, somebody is going to miss you. Somebody will. Even when you think they won't. But mental health is a huge deal, especially for us, and I'm glad, especially um, our younger generation is kind of embracing that now. That is getting us through to the next level.
And here's some stats 4.7% of Black and African American adults have experienced a serious mental illness within the past year. And
Absolutely.
79% of Black and African American adults have experienced a co occurring substance use disorder in
I
addition
see that.
to mental health conditions.
Yeah.
15.3% of Black and African American adults with mental health condition have received mental health treatment within the past year. And it's important that we normalize and prioritize mental health. And for us
Exactly.
in the Black collective, we've been taught for so long to talk to God about it. Just talk to God and what goes on in
Yeah.
this house, in this house. Faith without work is dead. And my cousin, who
Thank
I
you.
just
Thank
recently
you.
had, who's in North Carolina, who I just recently had on my show, she said the same thing. Faith without work is dead. God put there in my
Absolutely.
story. to be able to
Absolutely.
be that listening ear. And it's okay to go and talk to family, like your aunt's here. It's okay to go and talk to family. But if you also want that additional support, okay, I'm gonna use this analogy. For okay, I'm a woman,
Oh no, no,
so
go
we
for it, go
have to
for
have a little something extra to give us that lift, ladies. A push-up bra. That's a perfect example. But we need that extra support.
it.
And
Exactly.
a therapist is in a way that push-up bar, giving you that
Absolutely.
extra support. You know you got family there regardless. Your family's going to always be there. That's your support system. My mom and me were just having a conversation about anger, and my anger is something that I've battled with, my demons. I beat myself up a lot, and a lot of us do it, and it means that we're human. You
Yeah,
know, it means
we
that
we're
we're
our
human.
own worst
We're
enemy.
not perfect, right?
Right, and I'll tell and Miss Stevie, you bring up a good point. I mean, I think one of the biggest things in the community, we've just in the Black community itself. I mean, we have such a historical of context of just holding it in because despite the fact if we say it, nobody's going to listen. And while I understand that, right now is the day to kind of just say sometimes you got to look inside yourself and just say it. I'm not okay. And I know a lot of us unfortunately just don't like, and we kind of need to because once we realize, hey, I'm not okay, that's when the healing starts. That's when we can start improving upon ourselves and improving about our outlook and finding that purpose that we're here for.
Absolutely. And I just can't get over what your aunt said. It's still there. The Lord has the master's plan,
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely.
My mother would always tell me this as well too. When she said that, it made me think about my mom and my grandmother because they always tell me, "Don't let the devil win. Don't let the
Yes,
enemy win."
yes,
I was watching
absolutely.
Lauren Hill, and she is a clip that went viral of her, and she
Okay,
was saying, "You got to get the enemy. You got to get the enemy. You got to get the enemy." That's the devil. Like I believe that we all have a conscience as it
okay, of
pertains to our
course,
mental health, and we
of
have
course,
to have these conversations with ourselves. There's nothing wrong with talking with yourself and self accountability, self
of
preservation.
course.
I'm a firm believer in that. And if
Yeah,
you go and you watch TV shows, they have the good angel on your shoulder, and then they've got the
yeah,
devil on your shoulder telling you, do it,
absolutely.
do it. And they're in your back ear. They're doing it. It's like a gnat that just won't go away. They are
Right,
good.
right.
They are bugging you. They are trying to get you to do it. And in your heart is telling you don't do it. Lead with
Exactly.
your heart. And
Of
one of my
course,
favorite Bible verses says in this part, lean not on your own understanding and trust him. So I'm a firm believer of that. I'm a
of
firm
course,
believer. And I
of
believe
course.
that self accountability, holding yourself accountable, not letting the devil get the best of you. That's something my mother would
Exactly.
always tell me. When I was in my 20s, I'm in my 30s now. When you're in your
Okay.
30s, a light bulb goes off. Something is different. And the
Absolutely.
thing that you do in your teen years and in your 20s is completely different
Yeah.
from when you're in
Yeah.
adult. So
Course, course. And I think the other part that kind of goes into that is one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. Can't remember who said it. It might be in the Bible for what I know. But the greatest trick that the devil that has pulled on the world is the fact that is the idea that he does not exist. And he
oh yeah,
does. Sometimes you blame yourself. Sometimes you blame other people. But honestly, it's him. He's there. And I think sometimes you have to take that care into yourself to be like, yo, like I need to, the Lord will guide your hands, but well, we can fix this. We can get through this, whatever situation that may be. If you're kind of feeling down on yourself, trust me, I've been suffering from low self-esteem all my life, but at the same time, I still put on that good face and go forward because the Lord has a plan for me. The Lord has a plan for all of us. And that's just the way that we have to move. Not every day is going to be sunny, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I want you all to take away from that as well too. For anybody who's battling with mental health, and the
Absolutely.
resources are there, they're right at your fingertips. So reach
Absolutely.
out who can connect you with those resources. There's
Absolutely.
numbers you can text. You can talk to somebody if you're feeling like you're in the midst of a crisis. There are other
Of course.
people who have also experienced those type of crises, but then they've
Yeah,
come to their and saying it's not worth it.
exactly.
You deserve to be here. You are loved. You are wanted,
Exactly.
and we are going to continue to keep reassuring you of that. And I
Absolutely.
think other people should validate the other person experiences and emotions as well too, because
Of
they are
course.
valid. Make sure you're doing that. Make
Of
sure
course,
you're doing
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, on a lighter note here, Paradise Lost. Tell us
Yes.
about that. It is a hit show, and as you've
It
mentioned,
was.
you've worked alongside Nick Nolte and Danielle
Mhm.
Deb Butler. What was it like getting the call back for Paradise Lost?
Just the call that I had gotten the role freaked me out completely because I was like, I didn't know what to do. I really didn't. And even when I got onto set, it still kind of threw me off a little bit because I'm sitting there, I'm like, especially with a lot of the crew and stuff like that, because we shot in Baton Rouge. And a lot of the crew was kind of talking to me because they had dreams of being an actor as well and stuff like that. And they're sitting there asking me for advice, and I'm just as wide-eyed as possible because I'm like, I don't know how I'm doing this here, but I'm here for a reason. And even when the director, I think the first episode I was in, the director, I can't, her name was Eloise. Unfortunately, her last name escapes me. The other director that I worked with was also Romeo Tyrone, who has done too many shows. Underground, I know he directed a couple
Yeah,
of episodes of Underground, a couple of episodes of Dexter. Those are the big two that I remember. But I just remember I remember the first time she called action. And I thought it almost brought me back to when I was in a talent show, and my dad and mom bring it up all the time. I was dancing to I think I was in fifth grade. I was dancing to Janet Jackson's "Miss You Much." Once again, very embarrassing for me, but it was still a moment. And they remembered when the curtain went up, and my eyes were just wide, almost like I saw everybody. And then it was almost like a snap decision, like, okay, I remember what I'm doing, and that's exactly how it felt. Just hearing action, and it's like, oh yeah, I got lines. Let's go. But it was a fantastic it was a fantastic experience, and probably an experience I'm going to remember for all my life. One of the freaky not occurrences. It wasn't a freak occurrence, but one of the last times I shot for the show was because unfortunately it did get canceled. But like I said, COVID kind of messed it up. It happens. It happens. But bigger issues and stuff. But one of the scenes, I'm playing the fire chief in this town in Mississippi, and I'm supposed to be drunk out of my mind, but I'm still driving, and there's a hotel that is supposed to just erupt in flames. So apparently, I was told that this hotel was not going to be that honestly they were just going to add some digital stuff, and the hotel would
yeah.
go up in fire. So I was like, okay, cool. And so I drive up. I'm tired. It's a night shoot, so I'm completely just tired. I've been on set all day. And I stop and I look, and sure enough, actual fire had broken out. So the director lies to me to try to get a real reaction. And I'm sitting there, just I'm supposed to be drunk, so I'm struggling with the radio, and I finally get it going, and one hitter quitter. They were like, that we don't even have to do anymore because that was perfect. That's exactly what we needed you to do. But that trickery there, definitely that was one of the most hilarious things that probably ever happened to me. And just like, hey, y'all said it wasn't gonna be on fire. It's like, yeah, well, it was on fires, but you did well. You did right. So
And first reactions, first instinct, your reflexes are to react like, what am I supposed to do in this moment? So
exactly.
and that was, you beat me to my next question that I was going to ask you. What was the funniest thing that's happened to you on set?
That's one of them. I had this really weird I had this really odd, especially in my first couple of roles. I told you about the about Popular Theory, the other movie that I was in, And I don't know what it was, but like my first professional gigs, for some weird reason, I was always around fire, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. I still don't know why, but like in that one, I was the fire chief, and watching a building blow up, and just like, okay, I gotta take this I gotta take this radio and call it in and make sure make sure they try to put the fire out, which unfortunately they don't. But in popular theory, I'm sitting there burning books because apparently it's about a this student's science experiment bubble gum. And apparently, when you chew this gum, it's supposed to release pheromones, so everybody gets like hypnotized around you. And some people end up finding this gum, and they get, they start kind of using it for just their own selfish purposes. But I end up getting, hit by the pheromones, and I'm sitting here burning all these wonderful books because I'm the librarian, and we're supposed to have nothing but comic books in the library because this comic book geek student ends up chewing the gum and just turning the high school upside down. So just, and they actually had the real fire where I'm actually throwing books in there, but uh, I don't know what it was about fire, but I was always around it, especially my first couple of roles.
And it preps you for the next one and the next one and the next one.
Exactly.
So much
Exactly.
more. So what is next in the chapter for you? Because you've got a project coming out as well too, which
Yes.
I'm looking forward to. The Maestro of the Lake, and I
Of
know you
Lake
can't really,
Orlock. Yeah,
yes,
now
give a
that one
whole
is
lot away.
I can't really talk about that one too much. It's very odd, and the only reason I can't really talk about it too much is it kind of spoils the format. But I'm playing a TV announcer. But to be honest with you, it was one of the that was one of the that's one of the weirdest roles I think I've ever gotten. They were the way that they're doing it is so smart. Shout out to Patrick Berry, who is the director of the film. It was supposed to be a TV show, but I think they ended up turning it into a film. But the format that they're doing it in is phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of I tell you, there's two things I'm a huge fan of. It's one, movies that just do way too much, like just have a bunch of genres in it. Like
Oh yeah.
Sinners. Sinners is a perfect example. Interstellar, Parasite. One of my favorite movies, City of Gods, a Brazilian film that came out in 2002, but it has something for everybody. And I think the other big one that I absolutely love is just retro films. Like anything that's may have been done last year or it may have been done, this year, but it kind of has that retro vibe. It has that retro footage. It used the old cameras and everything like that. I think the last film I saw that was kind of like that was I think it was called Freaky Tales, Freaky Stories. I think it's a really kind of an Oakland-esque film. Had a lot of great people in it, but it's kind of in that base with the retro feel. And I think when you watch it, I think it's going to bring up a whole lot of nostalgia right now.
And we're living in a time where a lot of people want to go back in the past. We're living in an
Oh,
era where everyone wants that old school feeling, that
yes.
nostalgia. So
Yes, I mean,
look
when I'm not acting, I kind of put the creator tag along as well. Especially when, sometimes you have, as an actor, you have your downtimes where unfortunately, you're just not getting, you're just not getting, it's not even you're not getting the roles, you're not getting auditions because they just don't have anything for you. Like, they don't have anything for your type of character or just who you usually play. So you kind of have to do your own thing, and instead of getting down, you kind of do your own, do whatever you need to. And I know in North Carolina, unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of we don't have really much of a film community anymore these days. After Pat McCrory and the bathroom bill kind of messed up everything, not to get political, but after that messed up everything, everybody that was shooting, I mean, because we could have been just as big as Atlanta or New Orleans. And now, unfortunately, they're trying to kind of get it back, but that did really kind of put a damper into the filming scene in North Carolina. But in that, we still have these small communities that, if nothing's going on, they still got a camera and they just might just film anything. They
oh
might just take anybody in there. And I mean, honestly, one of the biggest things I've ever done was The Blackest Darkness, which was actually done by Mr. Mike Acosta, or Dr. Mike Acosta, who is a professor at UNC. He teaches screenwriting, and he just had an idea for a movie. Now, this guy is great writer. I mean, he's been writing. Used to write for what was the production? Morgan Creek. He used to write for that studio, and he just wanted to do this weird Twin Peaks feel. But honestly, that I got to be honest with you, that was Miss Stevie. That was one of the best. You know, I don't know if anybody ever has their favorite role. I don't know if actors or actresses have their favorite role. That was one of the first times I think I saw myself where I wasn't acting. I couldn't even recognize myself. Like I really couldn't. It wasn't makeup. It wasn't just. It was just what I was doing, what I was saying, how I was doing it. I was like, this is what this is supposed to be.
Yes, 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 yes. And in the North Carolina area, there's so many filmmakers, producers,
So too many, so
that are
many.
up there just creating.
Of
And my
course.
thing is this: don't just sit and wait
Yeah.
for the next role to come along. Get up and use your craft, and that's something that I want to do. I don't.
Exactly.
Of course, I want to continue hosting Style by Stevie, but
Yeah,
I would
as you
love
should.
to write. Get out here, write, create, direct, produce,
Exactly.
dabble in other arenas in the film world as well too, because there's so many. I mean, there's so much talent booming in North Carolina.
Absolutely. And Miss Stevie, sometimes you just got to do it yourself. I mean, I tell you what, like when I told you I wasn't getting these, when 2025 was kind of a down year for me, so be it. I It got to a point where I was like, I want to be on camera, but at the same time, let me do something I want to do. So, I came up with came up with side character, just a character that I do live, and I'm a huge video gamer. I'm even sitting in my office right now. I'm sitting on 24 different video game systems, and just kind of looking at them right now. And it came to a point I just wanted to explore that, and so I created this character, Fury S. Styles. And if you are a huge nostalgia fan, Fury S. Styles is the name of Lawrence Fishburne's character from Boys in the Hood in 1991.
Yes,
But I'm Fury S. Styles, so the estate of John Singleton cannot sue me. Fury S. Styles, a completely different person, but I want to be this hip hopper, time traveler, video game just historian, if you will. So I just started doing that, and honestly, I've been getting something there. But that was the biggest, that's the biggest thing I can do. If you really want to do it, ain't no time like the present. And I can't stand when folks are like, when this happens and when this happens and when this happens, I'm gonna do this, and I can't stand it. I've had a lot of friends and a lot of people that I used to work with that want to be actors, and the problem is when this gets right and when this gets right, I gave I had a audition for my manager when I was working at the bank, and said literally, hey, yo, if you're really looking to act, like, I mean, why don't you go ahead and go ahead and try out. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Well, I got to fix his chipped tooth. Forrest Whitaker got a lazy eye, and that man's won an Oscar. So like that's not a good excuse for me. Like, I'm just saying, like, there is no time. Like, every time is going to be bad until you start it up. That's when everything happens. That's when you need to go. You want to do it? Cool. Do it now.
absolutely. Get on it. Creativity. Use your talent.
Yes.
Filmmaking. There's so
Yeah.
many film producers and directors and writers out here, and you can tap one and you can ask them. There's so many courses that you can also take as well too. And
Exactly. And not only that, I mean, we're Miss Stevie, we're living in such a phenomenal time. You just to kind of remark back, you said something about the technology back in 2020 and everything like that.
oh yeah,
I mean, I can't tell you how many things I've learned how to do simply from YouTube. Like, YouTube is one of the greatest things that has ever happened, because I cannot tell you how many things I've actually learned to do, especially editing your own stuff, which is something I never really wanted to do. But there's such an art to it that you kind of just fall in love with it, editing your own stuff. And if you want to learn something about acting, plenty of YouTube videos out there. There's a phenomenal. Um, I can't think of. It's killing me because I can't think of the actor's name. Phenomenal actor, British. Oh God, it is not coming to me. It's going to bother me for probably the rest of this show. But he held just a seminar of just becoming an actor, and just being an actor. And I mean, this guy has been out there for such a long time. And oh my God, I can name his roles, and I cannot name his Michael. Oh God, it's gonna kill me. I'm sorry, but that series that he did was so phenomenal. that it made you that I mean it really made you think that it made you it put you in the mind of, hey, this is what acting actually is, and so
Oh,
many people are doing it. I can do it too, you know, and the only person that's going to stop you is yourself.
exactly. An
Yeah,
opportunity. There's so many opportunities out here for anybody looking to get into acting or producing. Shout outs to my colleague Deshaun. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the conversation, and I hope you all are taking notes as well too. If you're looking to become an actor or produce or create, like don't just stay in one arena. I say get
absolutely.
out. And there's so many places that you can go. And even in colleges, you can go to the arts as well too.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell you what, I have a one of my friends, Kevin. Shout out to Kevin Wilson Jr. Man, that's my homeboy from A&T. Kevin Wilson. I think Kevin. And if you ever see this, I apologize. I cannot remember what kind of major you were. I want to say he was a journalism major, but Kevin was he hung around the act he hung around the theater department, which we were the at one point in time the smallest department on the entire campus. I think there was like 12 of us that came in, and it was around usually around that number, and most of us probably a lot of us didn't survive to next year. But you know, like I said, I did, and I know a lot of people that just kind of kept pushing did. Kevin started out I think as a journalism major, and Kevin decided to do a short about Emmett Till. I think it was called My Nephew Emmett. And two, if I'm not mistaken, in fact, I know I'm not mistaken, first film he ever directed. And first film he ever did, and he tried to put it on stage first, and went ahead and made a film, had Jasmine Guy in it, which thought was insane. I was like, how the heck did you get Jasmine Guy? That's really awesome. Man's first film, Miss Stevie, got nominated for an Oscar right off the bat. Now, I mean, honestly, we don't have a whole lot of notable alumni, but Kevin Wilson's name is on that alumni now because of just going out there and believing in the message that he had and just being willing to do it.
And I love what Deshaun just said. It's always best to move around to see what you like because you never know
Yes,
the talent.
exactly.
It is.
Exactly.
That's
Like you
what.
never know as if you're in the same arena, like you never know what you could pick up and what you might actually really enjoy doing. You might have a knack for something that you may not started with, but it happened. It eventually happens though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is next in your chapter? You've got the project, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the Mastro of Lake Orlock coming soon, and I'm pretty sure you guys stay tuned. Make sure you're following. What else is next
Absolutely.
in your
Absolutely. Please make sure that you're following me. I'm at Anthony G. Marshall, Instagram. Also, if you want to check my other character, which, like I said, video game facts, I'm at Fury S Styles. One word, Z at the end. That's me too. If you want some, comedy, video game history, I kick that for you. Kind of on my off time. Um, Miss Stevie, to sum it up, best is yet to come. This is
there's
not my
more?
final form.
And my
I
colleague
don't
says,
do
wait,
video games. I review old video games, but yeah, I'm a video gamer at heart. So
yes, because Deshaun does video games as well too. So
okay, my man.
definitely,
Okay, gotta hook up.
definitely. All right. Before we close the show, Fashion Dolls. You know, I do this with all of my guests. It is time for me to turn it on over to Anthony. Anthony's going to put me in the hot seat in a segment I like to call Turn Those Tables. And this is where
Okay.
my guests get ask me as many questions as they want to for
Ooh, let's
life,
go.
whatever they envision. And I have to answer them. You'll get to know a little bit about me through the
Let's
questions.
go.
So I'm
Let's go.
nervous. My heart
Oh,
is
no, go
beating.
for it. Look, I'm not gonna holster my gun too much, but
All
all right,
right.
Miss Stevie. I know you've probably gotten this one before, and I've seen a couple of episodes, but out of the episodes that I've seen, I've never hit this question. We all got them. Most embarrassing moment.
The most embarrassing moment. Oh
Most
God.
embarrassing moment.
So before I came on. And thank God the live wasn't on. Uh,
Right.
I had you got, y'all know I love long trains on dresses, and
Okay.
so I have like a bed right here where my phone is sitting up is like a bed right here. So I literally had to climb over it.
Okay.
Well, rain was so long, I literally had almost tripped over the bedpost and fell. Everything would have came tumbling over. So praise the Lord, the cameras was not rolling. And I was like, how am I going to recover from this, Lord? Thank God. And I was just about to start doing my interviews. So for my ladies out there, make sure you pick your trains before you climb or do anything. That's a lesson that I've learned.
All right, Miss Stevie. Let me ask you what I can tell a lot from a person. Like I said, I grew up where I dare I say it, I own it because I mean that was me at the time, and honestly, if I wasn't in the state, then I wouldn't be who I am today. But I joke about it all the time. I was fat with a bad haircut, like straight up. So since my social scene wasn't really on, I watched a lot of movies. I watched tons of movies, just learned them, pick the brains and everything. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, ooh, The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy. Like I
Very
know
nice.
it
Okay.
line
Okay.
for line. I'm a big comedy junkie. If not that Eddie Murphy movie, then I love Harlem Nights. And I had the
Oh,
pleasure
okay.
of
Of
sitting
course.
with
Of
Ty
course.
Granderson Jones, who's worked with Eddie Murphy in Harlem Nights. So that was a
Right.
dream come.
Beautiful.
And out of all of them, I would have to say The Nutty Professor. I know it line for line. The dinner table scene, the grandmother, him as the grandmother,
Yes.
took me.
That is
Her
that is
scene
literally
with Cletus, yes.
that is literally this is a shame, but that is literally how I got that's one of the things I did to get my girlfriend was do that scene, all the voices. It was horrible, but it was that's one of the things I did. But I'm with you. That's an answer that I don't hear a lot of. I hear Harlem Nights all the time, but I never hear Nutty Professor, and I don't think I'll ever. That was the first time I don't think I remember laughing that hard in my life. I watched it in theater. I was when that came out in 1996, so I was 10 years old. But man, I
Yeah.
remember it like I remember it like yesterday. And it's good pick, good pick. I gotta give you that one. What, let me hit you with the last one. What is the what is one I'm trying to phrase it correctly here. So, hot seat here. What it would be one of the biggest moments for you? If throughout your journey, because I mean your journey is taking off. I mean we see where you're kind of going. We see what you're doing, and it's fantastic. And I gotta give you gotta give you your flowers, commend you for just going out there and doing it because that's what you wanted to do. But I have to ask, like, what would be that one moment where you're just like, I made it. I'm here. This is what I was doing to get to, or this is where the road was supposed to lead me to.
I can remember I had the pleasure of sitting down with one of my close friends who is an actor. That was the very first interview that I did way back
Okay.
when I first started. And it was shout outs to David K. Price. And
Okay.
then fast forward after that, I said, okay, this is the moment because he sent me a happy birthday wish. And I was screaming, jumping up and down for joy. And I said, okay, I might be on to something. This could be something that I go on. And here I am, fast forward years later, I'm
Awesome.
watching Vanessa Williams on television, and I'm sitting right right in front of her. We're
Right.
literally how we're in this interview now is how I was sitting in front of her. I would
Oh
have
wow.
never manifested anything or anybody else. I mean, from Tommy Davidson to B Slade, all of the people that I grew up listening to their music, watching them on television, reading about them, and I'm sitting right across from them. And I'm like, keep it together, girl. You want them to come back to the show. You don't want to fan
Of
out. No.
course.
So when I did the one with Vanessa, I wasn't just I was just awestruck when I did it with her, but I
Yeah.
was nervous. So I was panicking before the interview, but you guys couldn't tell. Y'all said you did great, you did outstanding. But I was dying on the inside. I'm like, this woman has been on every type of beauty and fashion magazine in the world. I've seen all of
Absolutely.
her music videos, seen her films. I mean, she's gorgeous. And I'm
Yeah.
glammed
Yeah.
up like a Barbie doll. She came on fresh faced, and when she clicked the camera, she said, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "Okay, pull it together." because my brother K Tooks, I think he called me before the interview and he said, "Girl, don't you mess this up."
Right.
He just encouraging me. And I kept saying it to myself. Like, I was like, okay, deep breaths. And when she came on, I reacted instantly, but I was nervous. I was nervous to tell the truth in that interview.
And it threw me off because I remember when you actually messaged me to come on the show. I was like, yeah, let me check out the show and see. And I'm seeing all of these people that I grew up with, and I'm just looking like, whoa, okay, how'd you find me again? Because I mean, look, your league is up here. I'm getting to that point, but whoa, like this is kind of a big deal for me here. So I definitely I really, Misty, from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate you even giving me a platform to even speak on. I don't this is very rare that I get a chance to really talk with anybody about the art and just the journey of art. But I see that you're doing it, and I'm seeing that you're giving young performers for myself, as well as performers that have been doing it since God knows when, the opportunity to just go ahead and speak candidly and go ahead and just swap war stories, break bread, whatever you call it, and commune. I love this. I love your platform. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you for even giving me a chance to even get a chance to speak with you, speak to your viewers as well. I really do appreciate that.
You are so welcome, and I would love to have you back on, Anthony. Like, it was an honor sitting with you. I've seen some of your clips, seen some of your reels, and I was like, okay, for this season, people know I sit with a lot of famous names. Yes, yes, yes. But I was like,
Yes,
one thing I'm not going to do is turn my back on the next faces, the next generation of actors that are coming on. I'm not going to do that. They deserve to have
absolutely.
a platform as well too. I said I want everybody to eat at this table. It's a more than enough room for everybody. And the
I,
misconception that I get all the time is that I sit with a lot of famous people. And I'm just like, okay, but there's other up and coming talent out here, like okay, film directors, producers. It's so
absolutely.
many, and I want to make sure that they
Absolutely.
shine as well too. So
Of course. And we but look, from the bottom of my heart, from young actors everywhere, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
you are so welcome. All right, fashion dolls, that was a load off, and my colleague, because I had no clue what Anthony was going to ask me. My colleague asked a question. He says, "What would you do Resident Evil 1 if you could do a video game?"
Here is you know what? Okay, so this is it's funny that Deshaun, and shout out to Deshaun, man. I gotta follow you after this. It's funny that you say that, Deshaun. In my very first video, the very first video I did was for a game called Lollipop Chainsaw that came out in 2012. But one of the first things I say is I don't do a lot of horror games because I was a complete punk growing up. I always do games that I've never played. So Deshaun, you know what, man? I might go ahead and put in. I might do the one. I might have to do the one on PlayStation just to kind of keep it old school. But just because I don't get a whole lot of requests, I'm gonna have to work in Resident Evil. I will work in Resident Evil. I have never played Resident Evil. As soon as you approach that door, I freaked the heck out and ran out the dang door. I was like 9 or 8 when that game came out. So I am not that age anymore. I'm a little older now. So I'm gonna give it what I got, and I'm gonna go ahead and play it. But yeah, them jump scares, whew, yeah, I ain't built for it. But you know what? Just from saying it, I got you.
And he says old school, but there's a lot of jump scares. I love
Oh
those.
yeah,
I
look,
love those kind of movies. But
I love those too.
thriller. I'm a thriller person. I'm a thriller
Of
lover.
course, same here,
And
same here.
I love being on the edge of my seat. It's something about it. I don't know what it is. Whereas before I
Absolutely.
was afraid of it. I was terrified of it and paranoid. And I said that in one of my interviews that if I watched something like that, I would be and when we got back late, I would be checking in the closet, I would check under the bed, I would check and make sure that nobody's in the bushes out there to bother me or anything.
Of course,
So
like I was the same way. I grew up I was afraid of everything. I was afraid of horror films, mannequins. I mean, I was scared of everything to a point now that I'm not. Just roller coasters. I was scared of those. Older age, love them to death. I just peeped Deshaun's questions. It's actually the same YouTube. Theory S Styles, one word, Z at the end.
There you go, fashion dolls. And thriller films,
There
horror
we go.
films. A lot of and Deshaun is into that as well as my other colleague Bubs, and they're just like, okay, how do you watch it? How do you watch it? I've had to overcome the fear of watching things like that.
I get it.
Where
I
before
get
I
it.
was so terrified because I'd be looking under the bed, I'd be literally thinking that somebody's coming to get me. And you said mannequins. My aunt made a joke with me one day. I have mannequins where I put my wigs on
Okay, fair
and
enough.
the lights would be out because I sleep in the dark. And my aunt asked me, she said, "How do you sleep with those mannequins in your room? What if they?" And then I know what she was going to allude to because we know how with Chucky the doll comes to life,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I'd have to do a double take, like, okay,
I was the same way. I got over it, but I tell you what, it's come to a point where I sometimes I'll rewatch a horror film just because I don't remember watching it, or I can't remember the name of it. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. That's how kind of crazy I am with horror films. What is the scariest horror film? Last question, I promise. Last horror film that really kind of took it to you like that.
ooh, Anarchy Parlor. It was more so like a thriller. The tattoo
Okay.
artist, and he was going around unaliving these people that was in another country. And then the
Yeah.
woman at the end, they took a picture together. They fell in love. She was afraid of him at first because he kidnapped her and got the rest of
Okay.
her friends. So, and then the picture of them together up there in the parlor. So, Anarchy Parlor. Y'all need to go and check
Anarchy
that out.
Parlor. I might have to check that
Yes.
one out. Okay, because I'm always looking for new stuff, but I'm gonna have to look that one up after we get off here.
Yes, it was pretty good. And shout outs to the actor who worked in this project. And then seeing him in the interviews, he's completely different than the character. Because I was terrified of him. His head is tattooed and everything. Like,
Oh my gosh,
outstanding job. He did an outstanding
I
job
love
in it.
when they
But
do
then
that. I love actors and
I like
actresses that do that.
seeing, yes, I like seeing the person outside of the character. That's why I
Same here.
said, let me come on, bring them on my show so I can see what they're like. They're fun. They play these sinister roles. I remember I interviewed Eamon Joseph from Snowfall, and I asked
Oh
him,
yeah.
Jerome St. And I asked him, why do you always play these villainous characters? Almost every character you play is villainous. In
It's
a
funny that
way.
you mentioned Snowfall. It's funny that you mentioned Snowfall because I'm on the show also. I didn't shout her out. Shout out to Gail Bean, who was also on Snowfall. I
Yeah,
never saw Snowfall, but one of the most beautiful women, most down to earth women that I've ever met, and it threw me the heck off when I finally ended up, just seeing Snowfall and seeing her role, and I was like, oh dear God, like whoa, this ain't who I met. I all said.
complete opposite. Complete opposite.
Complete opposite, but rocked it like one. I mean, she did the whole crackhead thing, and I was like, okay, like if you can play crackhead, you can act. But man, she did it to such a believable extent where I was like, man, that's how you do it right there.
Yes, and make it so believable. And I tell a lot of actors this all the time. Make the character so believable that the person can either do one or two things. Us, the viewers, can do one or two things. Because the viewers will walk up to you at a premiere outside the
Mhm.
theater and let you know about that character, whether they liked it
Absolutely,
or hated it. And if they
absolutely.
hated your character, they'd be like, I did not like your character at all. Your
Oh
character
yeah,
made me so mad. It has to be believable. It has to be
exactly.
believable.
Exactly. I did a short 128 23 was the name of it. Shout out to Russell Broderick Jr. He was the director of that. Just picked me out of nowhere. But what was so cool about it was that it played somebody completely from unlike myself. I'm playing a woman beater, just an abusive, just jerk off. And I was like, man, I don't, let me see what I can do. And I tell you what, gave my mom the link. I was already scared of her even looking at it, but gave my mom the link, and she is cussing me out completely. Like she barely cusses, but she is pissed off with me about that role because she was like, not my Anthony, not my T. No, nothing, you shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, Mom, I was acting. I was, I felt weird doing it, but I was just acting. I was in the role.
For real. And we get so caught up in it. We either know someone who's experienced what the character experienced,
Yes,
or we
Yeah,
ourselves personally have went through it. So it makes
exactly.
it
Ex-
so believable. Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, Fashion Dolls, before we wrap, any questions for myself or Anthony? Uh, before we let you go, Anthony, any
Yes,
gems you would like to give to anybody? Because this was I had such a great time.
I,
And I
I did
would
too.
love to bring you back for my 20th season, which will be in
Yeah,
2026. So I'm looking forward to that. So
yeah, man, beautiful, beautiful. I would love to be a part of that. Doing it for 20 seasons. That is remarkable, and I'm glad that you're still plowing through, Miss Stevie. Please keep on keeping on. If I gotta tell anybody anything, it's something that I learned when I was kind of rebuilding myself in 2020. Biggest thing is we always look at what we want in the future. We always look at what we want. We always look at where we came from, our past. Now, you don't want to forget those two, but the biggest thing that you are forgetting is your present. What can I do today to get me to where I want to be and to take me away from where I was? So always remember the present. Remember where you are. Remember that you're here right now, and the time is now. Do whatever you got to do to get it done.
absolutely. And I would close the show with what Anthony just told me, which is to keep moving. Today's quote comes from Albert Einstein. And he
Ooh,
says,
like
life
it.
is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. So we're going to go through a lot of hurdles and obstacles. And when you're riding a bicycle, there's going to be those corners with those sharp turns that you're going to have to go through. That's what
Exactly.
life is like. So for us, we're having to go through all of these obstacles. Even when you're test driving in a car and you're going to practice to learn how to get your license or whatever it may be, they have those
Cool.
cones lined up there and you got to stay aligned right there on the straight, narrow path. But
Absolutely.
in obvious real life, we're going to have to go through those obstacles, those corners that with those sharp turns. You feel what I'm saying? So
Of
I want you
course. Of
all to
course.
remember that in this time when we're all feeling all of the things, I want you all to uh, just remember that. And even as it pertains to mental health, protect your peace and be gentle to yourself because you're sacred. And remember, you are loved, dear.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful words, Stevie. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And I would love to have you back again for my 20th season. Yes, we will be back January 2026. We have more amazing guests coming on as we close out 2025. Next week, Sterling Gathers joins me. So make sure you guys tune in. And Anthony, where can everyone follow you and check you out? Because we obviously we have some gaming fans. My colleague Deshaun and others
Of
love
course.
gaming. So where can they follow you and check you out?
Two two biggest things, two biggest places. My I have my Instagram. Of course, you can find me on Facebook, Anthony G Marshall the second. My Instagram, Anthony G Marshall. Those are two biggest places to follow me. If you are into the gaming scene, the word Fury, Fury, the letter S, Styles, Stylez. One word altogether, for any kind of gaming content that you're looking for. And yeah, that's where you can find me at. Hopefully in a couple more movies in a little bit.
It's more to come. It's more to come on the
It's coming.
horizon.
It's coming.
Yes. All right, Fashion Dolls. I want you guys to be safe, be blessed this weekend, and I will see you guys next week. The lineup is already up. So make sure you guys go and check it out. And make sure y'all vote for the favorite look of the week. It's been, I think, out of all this week, it's been 5 different looks. So we'll have that up as well, too. So make sure you guys stay tuned, and I will see y'all next week at 4.
This is the winner right here. That's the winner. That's the winner.
And you too. We all are. And believe it. I want you all to believe it. So y'all take care, be blessed, and I will see y'all then.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one, y'all.
You too.